Well, thanks to our studio audience for joining us today on Delmarva Life. If you'd like to find out how you can become a member of our studio audience, just visit delmarvalife.com, click on the show tab, or call that number right there on your screen, 443-880-9116.
Well, the road to a perfect smile can be a long one. Many teenagers and adults are fitted with braces that they have to wear sometimes for a year or more. Now, Salisbury orthodontist Dr. James Crouse is streamlining treatment with a state-of-the-art digital impression scanner. The office of Dr. James Crouse is a pleasant one. In fact, walking through the door is like walking onto a tropical island. Even the turtles look happy. And Dr. Crouse wants to make sure everything about a patient's visit is pleasant, starting with impressions made of their teeth. He's replacing plaster molds with something a bit more high-tech. For decades, Dr. Crouse has used these plaster models to fit a patient with braces.
Not a lot of people care for it because some people, particularly if they have a ticklish gag reflex, it can make it uncomfortable. With the plaster models, we would sit there with them in our hands and look at them, do various measurements and so forth, see how they fit together. Sometimes we put them on a machine called an articulator, which simulates how the jaws open and close.
But getting the impressions used for the models the old way can be very unpleasant.
And we typically would take molds with materials called alginate. It's a powder, and you mix it with water and it turns gooey, and you have to put this in the person's mouth, and they have to sit there with it in their mouth until it sets, and then we pop it out, and then we pour plaster in it.
Dr. Crouse is one of the first orthodontists in the area to replace that procedure with this.
It's a three-dimensional scanner that is used to take the place of doing impressions to make molds of teeth.
The digital impression scanner gets the diagnostic information by taking a series of pictures inside the mouth and stitching them together to make a 3D image. Now, instead of waiting several days for a mold to be made, Dr. Crouse gets the information he needs instantly and digitally.
Now it's all electronic. It's three-dimensional. We manipulate it on the computer. I can see how the teeth contact and where the actual contacts are. I can see these places here are the contact areas, and there's tools in the program where I can measure and do various measurements on the computer rather than with a little ruler. Right now, one of the place where we're really using it is for Invisalign patients.
The digital impression scanner is just the latest piece of equipment that benefits the patient and helps Dr. Crouse do his job more efficiently. He says one of the first major advancements in computers during his career was a digital X-ray.
We used to take an X-ray of the side of the head, and we would put a piece of tracing paper on there, and we would trace out the image and the various landmarks and do these measurements by hand.
Another advantage to the digital impression scanner, Dr. Crouse doesn't have to find any more space to store the thousands of molds made over the years.
We have mountains of models. And we have a basement full of models, plaster models. I have a garage down where I live that are full of models that go back to the 1970s. The models are going to be electronic, and so I don't have physical plaster models that I have to store. All the models will be stored electronically off-site.
And the patients, they get their perfect smile that much quicker. And Dr. James Crouse is an elite preferred Invisalign provider. This elite designation places him in the top 1% of Invisalign providers in North America. Dr. Crouse is the first and only orthodontist on the eastern shore of Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia to reach this status. The Invisalign system is a series of clear, removable aligners that straightens teeth, providing an alternative to traditional metal braces. Well, up next on Delmarva Life, Made in America, here on Delmarva. WBOC Steve Hammond joins us to talk about First State Manufacturing, another local company making waves around the world. Delmarva Life, life at its best here on Delmarva.